Welcome to Tea Time with WENGIE. Cheers. Today I'm drinking a pu'er tea. I'm obsessed with this. It's a traditional Chinese tea that is really good for gut health, and it's touted to be a great weight loss tea as well because it really does aid in digestion and detoxing. It has a really kind of strong earthy flavor to it. So yeah, that's what I'm drinking today. So let's start spilling the tea. So it's been a while since I've been on YouTube and made a video, and I really like that for myself. I gave myself a well-deserved break, and now I feel like I am back and more level-headed than I was. I obviously went dark, like let's elephant in the room. My hair is changed. This is the rainbow unicorn hair has been gone for a couple days. This was like a 2, 3 day ago thing, but I just really needed a change, and I kind of wanted to get back to my roots a little bit and kind of get a feel for, I guess, as close to my natural hair color as I could, get to. I'm still blonde underneath. It's a temporary dye, so I can reverse this. I'm kind of giving this a test drive to see how I feel. And you know what? I love the fact that it is lower maintenance than the blonde hair. I think the one thing that really made me want to change my hair color is just the amount of maintenance it takes to stay blonde as an Asian girly. Like, you are in the salon every 6 to 8 weeks. And I think with me moving so much, it's been really hard to have a regular hairdresser, which is what made it even harder. I think having a regular hairdresser that does your hair well, that knows you, it's a huge difference, when it comes to going blonde and having a high maintenance hair color. Because I moved so much and I was using different hairdressers, my hair got pretty damaged because each hairdresser has like their own way of doing things. So it got really hard with all the moves and all the changes in my life. And yeah, so I wanted to test drive my natural-ish hair color. As you see, it's like a little bit blue green. Would love to know what you guys think, but yeah, I'm kind of embracing a new era right now, and that comes with me returning back here onto my vlog channel with this series, Tea with WENGIE. And I'm gonna spill the tea on what's been happening. I guess the first episode, or this first, is it a podcast? I don't know. We'll see. I don't really want to commit to anything right now in my life. I think that was something that I was trying to move away from, and that burnt me out. So, yeah, like this first video back, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a life update, a little bit of catch up, let you guys know like what's been going on. And I really love this set because this really brings me back to when I first started YouTube. And I think me being away from YouTube was basically me trying to rediscover my passion again for this platform, for making videos and everything like that, because it got all too much. And when you make something your career and your job, especially if you're like trying to be a creator, influencer, or YouTuber, you'll know there's a big difference between making videos that you want to make and making videos to pay the bills and to rely on the numbers and the growth to build a career. Like, you have very different priorities. The beauty of me making YouTube videos in the very beginning when I started this journey is, honestly, I simply just wanted to make videos that I wanted to make. I wanted to talk about things that I wanted to talk about because I had a job and I didn't really need to rely on the views or the AdSense money or even the brand deals to live my life. So it was a very different approach to making videos, and I think right now I really want to go back to that grassroots, back in my bedroom with better sound equipment, but I'm still using my G7X video camera that I've been using for years and years and years, and just getting back to making and talking about things that I like to talk about. So that's kind of like my journey. Like, I went on a journey of self-discovery for the past couple years, As you know, if you follow my main channel, I got out a really long relationship. And since then, I think anything that happens that is like that big of a change to your life, you go on like a reset kind of thing. You kind of want to discover who I was. And I wanted to shed everything from my past life and kind of rebuild it again in a way. So, that's why I stopped posting YouTube videos. For a while, I wanted to keep posting YouTube videos that I wanted to post, but then I realized I was kind of just chasing this thing that I was doing from before. And instead of making YouTube videos I liked, I thought to myself, okay, why not just not make YouTube videos at all? Like shed everything. Like not even just make a tiny change on what you're already doing, like just remove everything from your life. So for a full year or 2 years, I've basically not made a video or very little videos. I don't even remember the last time I posted a YouTube video, but I basically said to myself, look, there's no pressure for you to do anything that you used to do unless you want to do it. And so that meant I stopped posting YouTube videos because I realized I lost that passion. There was no fire, there was no drive to wanting to do it. There was no like, that feeling when you love something, you just get really excited and you just can't wait to do it. It wasn't like that. It felt kind of like, oh, obligatory. Like I had to do it. So what am I going to make a video about? Rather than I wanted to make a video about this, it was I need to make a video. What am I going to make it about? At least let's make the topic something I like. And that's not like that's not a full passion. It's like halfway there. It's like half passionate and half like, oh, I'm kind of obliged to do this because I told myself I would. So then I stopped making YouTube videos and I stopped doing anything. I did discover TikTok and short form content that I really liked it because I felt like, at the time, and it's changing as well really quickly, it felt like people were making videos just because they wanted to again. And I miss that community feeling. I miss that feeling where we're all on YouTube and we knew what was going on. And there was like this kind of glue to the YouTube platform. And I feel like over the past, couple years, of course, YouTube has grown bigger. It's commercialized. It's, trying to monetize. There's a lot more bigger brands and media platforms on YouTube right now. It's lost that community feel where like that's where I started. It felt like I was having an intimate conversation with my subscribers. And in the past, couple years as well, you may have noticed that subscriptions aren't really that important on YouTube anymore. If you're a creator, you'll know subscribers mean nothing. In fact, if you have a lot of old subscribers, it's actually worse for you because a lot of them aren't engaging with your content anymore. And that makes YouTube think, oh, this video is not very good. We're not even going to push it out to newer people that don't know you. So it's almost like a curse to have a big following sometimes, especially if the following's grown up and kind of like aged out of you or just no longer interested in the content that you currently create, but they haven't been bothered to unsubscribe. So with all that kind of unimportance, it's kind of removed that cohesive glue and community feeling that I feel just really made YouTube and what I loved about YouTube. When I first loved making my videos, I remember I had like the WENGIE fam, and it really felt like a family. I really felt like every week we checked in with each other and kind of like shared things that we like. And for me, that was like sharing like fun DIYs, life hacks, makeup tutorials, things I learned, and it just felt different. And then when YouTube became that kind of commercial machine, I just felt like I was just trying to make content that would do well and that I was trying to keep up with the trends and the algorithms and what people wanted to watch rather than what I wanted to create for my group of people. So I think the thing I'm going to be doing differently, especially with this tea with WENGIE, is trying to bring that feeling back, firstly to myself, but hopefully to you guys as well. I know a lot of you guys have grown up and, since, you met me, you probably met me with DIY content or back to school content. I'm sure you, like myself, have, gone through various stages in your life and you are a completely whole new different person. They do say that the cells in our body every 7 years fully regenerate like in 7 years, cellularly, you're a completely new person. So why can't we be new people, mentally and personality wise? And it's kind of ironic because I want to really speak on that. In my journey of wanting to be a different person, the irony of that whole situation is I found myself becoming the same person again, if you know what I mean. Like when I started YouTube, I was kind of making content like this where I wanted to give life advice and help you guys out and discuss things that were important to me. And then I kind of just got derailed and onto this like this view train where I wanted to get more views, and of course we all want to be successful, and that's what I want. I wanted to be successful at what I was doing. Plus I wanted to leave my job and have YouTube as my main source of income, which sounded great at the time because that meant I got to make YouTube videos for a living, but at the same time it kind of puts you in this box where you're like, well, now I have to make YouTube videos for a living. But after that 2 year break, I found myself coming back to the same things I started out with. Like it's coming back full circle. And I feel like that's happening with not just like the career part of my life, but many different other areas of my life. I've come back full circle into who I was before this whole YouTube thing. It's making me kind of emotional right now, but it's really weird. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to go through this like self discovery, but it's just really interesting that you come back to who you actually are. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna take a break because, whew, we getting emotional. I'm gonna take a break and I'm gonna talk about tea for a while because this is something like okay, if you have watched my videos since the beginning, I used to do a sentence a day where I would drink tea with you guys because I was obsessed with the tea, and I'm still obsessed with tea. And it's like, where did that go? Why did I lose that? How did I lose that? So, yeah. The other thing I wanted to talk about going full circle is kind of like, I don't really know what this channel is going to be or what this particular series, Tea with Wengie, is going to become, because I figured I will just do this because I felt like it, not because I have a plan or a strategy, which is very unlike myself and something I want to move away from for now because I felt like that was not doing me any good mentally, to be doing everything because I had a plan or because I have a strategy. I am a Capricorn and I've embraced my full Capricorn self. I am ambitious, I am hardworking. Oh, the other thing I did in these 2 years is I taste tested, like, not early retirement, but like the whole like not doing anything lifestyle, like the stay at home girlfriend, daughter, wife, or whatever you want to call it these days. It's like a whole like thing aesthetic. But it's funny because when I was young, the whole reason I wanted to become rich or build a successful business or do something like that was to retire early so I could play games all day and do whatever I wanted all day. So I did test drive this life where I became a stay at home slash I could play games all day. I could watch K dramas all day. I gave myself no responsibilities. And I know I'm in a very blessed position to be able to do that because a lot of us don't even get to taste test this life. So I'm grateful for everything that happened on YouTube, which gave me enough money in the bank so I could take that year or two off and not have to stress or worry about it. But what I did discover in my whole stay at home era is I really don't want to do nothing. It is something that it's not natural for me to do nothing. And it's kind of weird because my whole dream was to one day do nothing. My whole dream was to one day be wealthy enough so I didn't have to work. And then guess what I found myself craving at the end of that whole time? It's to work. I felt like I just needed to go do something. I didn't feel fulfilled. I felt lazy. I felt useless. And it actually made me really depressed because I realized I love being useful. Like, doing nothing. I'm sure you can make yourself be useful doing nothing, but it's kind of hard to do nothing and be useful at the same time. And I realized I just love being useful to someone, to something, to people, to you guys, to, I don't know, to myself. I just needed to go work. And after like a year and a half of taking a break, I started dreaming of projects I wanted to do. I needed to do something. It was just like a fire that is constantly lit under me that I just go need. It's just like might be like a Capricorn curse. If you guys are into astrology, I'm a Capricorn stellium. I've got like planets in Capricorn, like 5 placements in Capricorn. I am so heavy Capricorn that I feel like I just want to suffer. That's just my goal in life, is to make myself suffer in some way, whether it's to put a whole lot of responsibilities on myself or to make myself work hard. But yeah, that is literally me. So now I am back. I want to work. Like, I am now sure that I want to work, not that I am forced to work or I feel obliged to work. I want to work and I want to build something. And the other thing I kind of discovered in my time off and my break is I still dabbled in social media. Like, I was posting TikTok videos, but I was just posting stuff that was fun. And then after a while posting stuff that was fun, I realized I'm competitive, I like a challenge, and I started wanting to post things that did well. And that's just a natural occurrence to me. I couldn't really stop myself from doing it. But I also discovered how unhealthy sometimes a career in social media is. And I think that was what really burnt myself out. Like, and I hear a lot of creators that, nowadays everyone's a creator. Nowadays everyone has a viral video. Well, most people, anyways. It's much easier than it was, especially with platforms like TikTok and Instagram Reels. It's so much easier to just get a viral video, given that you have very little followers. It's not like the YouTube pathway where I feel like on YouTube long form videos, it's so much harder to build a following. But YouTube Shorts is really easy to go viral too. And now, since everyone is kind of a creator or has the potential to be a creator, it's become almost like a commodity. And I'm not salty or anything like that, because I did start in 2013 when there was a lot less competition and you were rewarded for the fact that you put in the work. But these days, I feel like creating and influencing, it's like easy come, easy go. Like, you can blow up really easily, but it also disappears really easily. And it's almost like fast fashion, like it comes, it goes, and then you're kind of like, what was the point of that? The other thing that I thought was really unhealthy for social media is, well, let me elaborate on that, like it comes and goes really quickly kind of thing. So, because it comes and goes so quickly, I feel like it's hard to build anything lasting. And for me, and seeing how my friends' careers have progressed, is a lot of careers and fields, you keep getting better. You build more skills, you get better at what you do, and you're more respected for what you do because you know more, you've experienced more. And it's just like a natural progression. You feel progress. And after putting 10 or 20 years into whatever skill you choose to put into or your career, you are known as like a veteran. And yes, in social media, there are OGs and veterans, but I feel like it's one of those careers where it's not like, it's the more time you put on it, it doesn't really matter. Like, no one cares if you are 10 years into being a creator or 1 month being a creator. If you're viral, you're viral. If you're popular, you're popular. If you're getting views, you're getting views. It really doesn't matter. So on one hand, it's great for people that just want to just blow up randomly. Like, they would feel over the moon, excited, lucky. It almost like this was so easy to blow up. For those of us that have been around for a while, that are OGs, yes, we do have a certain level of respect, and thank you guys for acknowledging that. But at the same time, it kind of just feels like it doesn't matter that we've been here for 10 years. In fact, sometimes it's worse because we're kind of stuck in like 10 years ago content, and it's just our job to kind of like unbrainwash ourselves from all that kind of stuff and learn new methods of making content. And you're constantly chasing a new technique, a new algorithm, a new trend. And it's exhausting after a while. I don't really feel like I can kind of be like, oh, I'm an experienced, wise person of this industry. Let's just relax a bit and kind of reap the benefits of having put in X amount of years onto this platform or this career. That doesn't happen in creator, like the creator economy, I guess is what you call it. And I think, if you want me to make more videos on that side of things, if you're interested in being creator and you want to kind of see the behind the scenes and get some more advice, that is some wisdom I can share with you. So that's what I discovered. No matter how much I put into social media, I just feel like it's a constant like race that you're never gonna finish running, and you're constantly going to be last place if you just, you're not aware. So that's one thing. It feels like I'm throwing, water into a leaky bucket almost. So I guess after discovering that about social media, I still love creating content. I still love helping you guys, giving advice. And I think that's kind of the direction I'm going to be taking my content. It's like I want my content to be useful. I want my content to make you guys inspired. I want my content to be teaching you guys things that, I wish I was taught. Things like that, just helpful content, not content that is chasing a trend or an algorithm. But, don't hold my word to it, because I know I might wake up one day and be like, I just want views. And I am okay and comfortable to admit that right now. So there's that. But given that learning, I realized I wanted to build something. I wanted to build something that most of all and most importantly didn't revolve around me as a brand. It's really, really unhealthy to have a whole business based around yourself. And it feels great at first because it's like, okay, cool. I get to be the business. That's really good. I get to be celebrated. But you realize over the long term, you change, you have different wants, and a product should stay the same. Like if a product works, you should keep that product the way it is. Like don't change it if it isn't broke, but you as a person changes. And that's really hard when you're running a personal brand as a business. So that was my first criteria. It's like I wanted to build something that isn't based around me. For my own creative endeavors, I, of course, release music, and I also quit YouTube to become a music artist. Well, I was making music already, but I wanted to focus on music as my main piece of creative content. And I'm still doing that. But as if you've ever known any independent artist, it's a hard life. It's a poor life. You spend a lot of money for very little return, and you do it all for the love of art and passion. The huge rich pop stars you see are a very small percentage of music creators and music artists and musicians. In addition, like they spend a lot of money on marketing, and a lot of them assigned to companies that have that money. So being independent makes it a lot harder on that journey. And I'm happy to share that journey with you as well. That's my side project, but that's not like my project. So my second criteria was to build something not based on me, something I can build and it will grow. So, I went back to thinking to myself, okay, what do I love? And I started so many random business ideas in the past 2 years, and most of them like never really took off. They were just like one day me going, oh, I want to sell eyelashes. And the thing is, I'm very business minded. I am a Capricorn. Like, although I love being creative and having a passion, I also, my rational side and my logical side still needs to be convinced that this is a good business decision and this is a good idea. So I've gone through a few ideas. The first one being I wanted to sell eyelashes and makeup. I realized that being a small business owner, um, it's going to be very hard. I need a lot of startup capital, which I wasn't willing to put in at the time. And it's already a very saturated market. And as I get older, I realize I use less different makeup. Like I use makeup, but I'm not as excited about trying new makeup products as I used to be before. I think if you spoke to me 10 to 15 years ago, I would always be excited to buy and try like that latest makeup product. And I'm at a point in my life right now where I'm just like, I have my tried and true. I might change like a palette every season or if someone sends me something, but like I'm not in a huge rush to be like trying new makeup items all the time. So I'm like, okay, given this is the trajectory of my passions and the way I'm going, it's probably not a great idea to start a company selling makeup. Okay, so the next thing I went into was um what did I do next? Oh, lashes. And this really came out of a really serendipitous kind of moment because I love lashes. I went through a whole phase where I was obsessed with Douyin makeup, which is the TikTok of China makeup, or people call it Xiaohongshu makeup, which is like a red book, which is like the Instagram of China. Um, so I got obsessed with that style of makeup, and they really love this thing called like manhua lashes, or people like to call it manga lashes as well, because for some reason we don't like Chinese things here and we'd rather make it Japanese, even though it is a Chinese trend. So manhua lashes, I started buying a whole bunch of different ones off Amazon, and then I was doing my makeup for one of my music videos, Wake Up, and my makeup artist was just like, "Oh, I'm kind of like wanting to start a lash business, but like there's no one to start it with." And I was like, "Oh, me, I love lashes." And it was such a serendipitous moment. Mm. But the thing is, then I put my business brain hat on. We went through a lot of samples. She sent me a ton of samples from factories in China of the stuff she loved. I trusted her too because she was a makeup artist, so she's like super picky at the product and she could use it on a bunch of different customers too. So I really respected her feedback. But then when I put my business hat on, it was like, well, okay, there's a lot of really competitive lashes on Amazon. So so I was like oh my gosh, this is perfect. Like it felt like something just fell on my lap and it was a coincidence. It felt like destiny. It felt like fate. But then I put my business hat on. As we got the samples, I tried them. I was like, I love this one. And then we went through some tools and things like that. And she was a really lovely girl. I loved working with her. I put my business I put my business hat on and I started checking out competitors, because if you're going to sell something, it's kind of like you want one to either be priced better or the same and offering something like, different. Because we were sourcing a lot of these lashes from a factory, the quality was good, but I wouldn't say the quality was like yards above what I was buying from Amazon. And prices for lashes on Amazon are rock bottom if you don't mind what brand you're buying it from. And I was buying lashes that were $6, $7, $8. And honestly, that wasn't enough margin to even be covering the amount of time we'd be spending on it, because we were getting it from the factories for like the good ones, $2 sometimes. So I was like, like we could do this, but there's not going to be much margin because obviously we have to pay for the design, we have to pay for storage of the products, we got to front the inventory, we got to post the products all the time, build the website, do advertise. There's like a lot of work that goes behind selling a product, and these margins weren't going to cut it. And I don't think we would be like much more competitive with the brands on Amazon, given like the amount of marketing we wanted to spend on it, which was very, very low. We weren't going to be throwing $1 million worth of marketing into this product. So I spoke to her. Her husband is an accountant, and we decided maybe we should just not do this, because there's no point starting and getting into this even though we were like already halfway there, unless we were going to go all the way, because it would have just been a waste of time. She had a very successful, makeup artistry business, and I wanted to either do nothing or, keep making content. So it wasn't like we had a lot of spare time. So that idea kind of went out the window. And it's been a long time since another idea really kind of hit me that was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be my thing. And I gave myself some space. I'm like, okay, Wengie, what is the next thing we're gonna do? What is the next project? And I wanted to do a podcast. I did a podcast for a little while, but it was on a topic that I wasn't like, it was on relationships. And because at the time it was like the Wizard Liz was going off, and it was like this whole motivation and relationship thing, which I love. I love talking about that. But I realized like I honestly don't have a lot of different relationship experience. Like, I wanted to do a relationship podcast, but I literally am the girly that gets into one long time relationship and then just gets into another one. I've never dated, I've never met a ton of different men and had a totally ton of things to talk about. So it's like, I'm just going to be a really boring relationships person because I'm kind of, I guess you could say, very sheltered or very simple when it comes to my relationships. So then I was like, ugh, maybe that isn't a good idea too. So that's something else that I kind of started and failed at as well. And so I'm like, I should really get to know myself a bit better before I start these things. But sometimes you need to start them and do them before you realize it's not for you. And honestly, before my YouTube channel got really popular, I was experimenting with a lot of different startups. And I realized a lot of them weren't for me. And I did waste a lot of time and money, but I just kind of write them off as like a learning experience. And I guess at the end of this journey, we have a positive message because I think this was like maybe a month or two ago. I started hanging out with a friend, Nancy. Shout out to Nancy. We catch up every week, and now it's every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Because adult friendship, guys, you just get busy and you get lazy and you get distracted. It's so hard to do a regular meetup. Like for my best friends, it's good if I see them like once a year. So it's a hard adult relationship kind of schedule. But Nancy, I managed to see every week or every 2 weeks. We're up to 3 weeks. We've been getting sick, and she has like a job, but she really wanted to start something, and she wanted to start kind of like an e-commerce, like selling. At first it was drop shipping, and I have drop shipped before, but it's not really my thing because again, like I wanted to build something that is lasting, like build something that over time I can build bigger and bigger. And drop shipping again is one of those things. It's like once your item that you drop ship is out of fashion, you got to find the next one and the next one. You also don't control your product that much, so you are kind of, at the mercy of your suppliers. So, but that kind of got me thinking. It's like every huge uh woman in creative industries, like for me, I want to be a music artist, so I look up to people like Ariana Grande and people like that. And what I noticed with a lot of people there is they actually have a product. So we have Rare Beauty, Selena Gomez, we have Fenty, Rihanna, we have Ariana's make perfume line, sorry, Ariana. And when you do some digging, you realize a lot of their money and net worth comes from starting these businesses, not from their music career, not from their streaming or their royalties of their radio plays, not even from their tours. So, apart from Taylor Swift, I think Taylor Swift is the only music artist I feel makes most of her money from her actual music, whether it's tours, merch, or music. Everyone else has a product that they endorse. And Ariana has REM Beauty as well. But her fragrance line, I feel like, is her kind of bread and butter business that does really well. And I'm like, I want that too. I want that for myself. I don't want to compromise my creativity just to make money from it. And I think that's why a lot of these artists have these businesses, because it's great to run a business like a business and make the money from that, and then not have to rely on your creative work as a business so that you have to compromise your creativity to make money. And I'm like, I want that for myself. I want my creativity to remain as pure as possible. even like my content on YouTube. Like I don't want to have to rely on brand deals and AdSense to make money. I want this business. So I'm like, okay, for that to happen, I need to think of a product that I love to talk about, that makes sense for me, that has decent margins, or at least, is a sound business plan, a sound business strategy idea, or whatever you want to call it. So I kind of like set these criteria. I'm like, okay, it needs to be a product that is between like the $20 and $40 range, ideally. Because if you really like understand e-commerce and things like that, there is like a price point where it makes sense, because otherwise your shipping, your warehousing, and all that kind of dollars cut into your margin. And at some point, unless you're doing huge volumes, like millions, it's not going to be worth your time. You're probably going to lose money on it. So I'm unlikely going to be selling millions of whatever product I sell, because I don't have the marketing budget to go up against your huge brands that you find in Target and all those retailers or have their own stores. So I'm like, it has to be like between 20 and 40. It has to be like something evergreen, as in like it doesn't come in and out with the trends. Because imagine building a product on a trend and that trend goes away. Like all that time you spend building that product, literally waste of time. So I remember writing these criteria in my notes, and then I just let myself simmer. I'm like, I'm going to simmer on this. I'm going to look around. So my first thing was wigs, because at the time I was kind of transitioning between my blonde hair, my dark hair, and I was using a lot of wigs to kind of like trial the look before I actually color my hair and commit to that. So I started looking at wigs, and I started going to Chinese factories and asking for samples and things like that of the exact kind of wig that I wanted. I had a very particular wig that I really wanted, and that is a kind of lace front, glueless wig, because I'm lazy. I don't want to use glue. It needs to be synthetic because the price point for real hair is really high. And if you want like wigs to change your look, you're not going to be paying $1,000 for each wig. That is crazy. So I was like, it needs to be synthetic but look real enough. It needs to have a lace front, because I don't like bangs. With wigs with bangs, you can get away with really low quality wigs because it hides that hairline. But if you want to see the hairline, it needs to look good. You don't want to like a bad looking hairline. So it needed to be glueless, lace front, and like kind of hand plucked as well. I had like very specific things I wanted. And I'm like, if I'm not going to get this wig, I'm not going to sell this wig, because it needs to be something that like I need to stand behind and be like, I love this. So after like a whole month of going back and forth with factories, it was very hard to find this wig. And maybe that's why this wig is like, I couldn't find it myself, Like it was very hard to get the factories to make that exact thing and also have it priced decently. There was always something missing, and I may still be selling wigs. I'll see if I eventually find a factory that I'm like, okay, this is exactly what I wanted. I even had like particular hairstyles I wanted them to create custom, because I wanted like a particular look. I'm really inspired by the whole like Xiaohongshu, like Douyin, Red Book kind of look with the hair and their makeup. So I wanted to create that. But anyways, haven't found it yet. So that idea is kind of like put on the side. And then while I was exploring that idea, I was like, okay, I was watching a video. I forgot which video it was, but it was kind of like, oh, they were talking about uh, a really great product that you can sell is something that people can repeatedly buy. Because once spend that time marketing and finding a customer, they can repeat purchase. And I was like, that's actually a great point. And then I realized with wigs, it's like, how many wigs do people buy? Like I have 3 drawers worth of wigs, but I feel like I'm a very particular person that loves hair, and not everyone's going to be like me. I don't think everyone has 3 drawers worth of wigs in their house. I think you might have like 1 or 2, or you might buy one for Halloween, but even Halloween wigs, you're not going to spend a ton of money on that. You probably just order one from the costume store for like $10, $20. Like you're not going to be as picky as me when it came to wigs. So I'm like, okay, that's where like that business idea kind of like falls through. I was thinking to myself, like, what do I use every day? Because I was actually sitting with Nancy again. Again, like I said, she was wanting to build this e-commerce business. She was trying to decide like what product that she wanted to sell. And one of the advice that I gave her during one of our coffee sessions was like, why don't you sell something like you can't stop talking to your friends about and like you would use anyways? Because if you get all the inventory, right, and you don't manage to sell it, like fingers crossed that's not the case. Like I want you to sell all your stuff. But like say you don't sell it, like you could use it yourself, you know? And I was like, that's great advice, Wengie. Why can't I take my own advice? So I'm like, okay, what's something that if I buy a ton of, like I would also just not mind using it all up myself. Like just be like, okay, well the business didn't work, but like great, I have all this stuff to use and I was going to buy it anyways and now it's like cheaper. Um and so using my own advice that I gave to my friend, I came up with powdered tea. Hear me out, guys. This is why we are doing Tea Time with Wengie. This is full circle. This is the podcast where we sip different types of tea and spill the tea. Powdered tea is my one love. This is powdered pu'er tea. So I have a few things that I do every morning. One is drink tea because I quit coffee about 2-3 years ago. I can do like a whole another video on that, but I quit coffee like 2-3 years ago and I made the switch to tea. And I have a few issues with tea. The first one being I am a health nut. Like if you know me really well, and I feel like some of these tea times with Wengie will be me giving you guys like healthy living advice, but I am crazy when it comes to my health. Like to the point where I literally bought myself a soy making machine, like soy milk making machine, because I didn't want to drink the fillers in the soy milk that comes in the carton. Like that is how insane I can be. I'm really into like biohacking. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that, but it's basically like learning all the things about your body. I'm really into anti-aging. I do want to live forever. No, not really. I do want to stay young and healthful forever. I don't want to be living if I can't enjoy my life, get out of bed and do things I want to do, as well as look good doing it. So I'm that crazy. And the reason why I love powdered tea is first, I got onto it through this brand called Peak Tea. It's one of those like brands that are really fashionable in the entrepreneurship, biohacking, like athletic screens sphere of things. And that's how I got into it when I was, doing a bunch of crypto stuff, which I will talk about maybe later. And like following like Tim Ferriss and a bunch of like those startup entrepreneurs. I wanted to be a startup founder. Like before I was a YouTuber, I wanted to be a social network / tech founder. That's a weird bit of history about me that you might not know already. So I was like in those circles consuming that kind of content. And so I stumbled upon this brand called Peak Tea. And they have little sachets of powdered tea that literally changed my life because I am a tea drinker that loves the taste of strong tea. Like if I could put 10 tea bags in a cup, I would do it. But I would also feel like it was wasteful because on the other end, I would also use a tea bag until nothing comes out of it anymore because I'm cheap and Asian like that I would just reuse a tea bag 10 times until I'm literally just drinking water with a tea bag in it. That's me. So at one end, I'm like, oh my God, I want the strongest tea because I love that taste. And then on the other end, I am like this cheap person. The thing with Peak is, guys, it is so expensive. I loved it. I love drinking it every morning. I felt like I was, rewarding myself, in the morning so I could go work because it gave me just enough caffeine for me to focus, but not enough to make me jittery. So, yeah, I was like obsessed, but it was so expensive. It was costing me $70-$80 a month to be drinking that tea. And I'm like, this is not sustainable. So I actually stopped drinking that tea and I moved on to tea bags until I found out that tea bags are actually kind of bad for you because of the way that they make it. There's like plastic or toxins because they need to seal the bag, um, stuff like that. And you know me, I'm a health nut. So I'm like, no, I can't be drinking tea bags every day. Like, I don't mind doing unhealthy things once in a while, but if I'm going to be doing it every day, it's going to be like, it needs to be healthy. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, gosh, like I can't drink this tea bag and feel comfortable with myself every day. I feel like I'm slowly killing myself. I'm sure I also don't I try not to drink from plastic bottles either. So there's something else about me if you want to be like, oh, but I'm sure you drink from bottle. I don't really drink bottled water. I have a filter and this like hot water heater thing, which I can share with you later. But yeah, I was like, okay, can't drink tea bags anymore. Moved on to loose leaf tea. So I bought like a bunch of loose leaf tea and these like steepers, like sifters, because I also didn't want to use. I'm so picky. This is going too long. I think this is going to be a 1 hour podcast of me spilling my guts of everything that I haven't been able to tell you guys for like years. But anyways, so also with these like tea steepers, I realized when I use a stainless steel one, it would weirdly rust after a while. Like I bought those like the metal mesh strainers and it would go brown and rust after a while just from use, or maybe I just mistreated it. And I'm like, I don't want to be drinking rust every day. So then I started buying glass strainers because I'm like, glass doesn't rust, okay? This is how crazy I am. So I'm like, okay, glass doesn't rust. I'm going to use a glass strainer. So I use this loose leaf tea and glass strainer, and I've been doing that for the past like 8 months. That's like my new morning routine. But the loose leaf tea just doesn't hit, like the tea flavor isn't strong enough. And it just takes a long time. Like I seep it and I have to wait like minutes, and I'm just like an impatient person. With the powdered tea, it's like instant, it's like instant gratification and strong flavor. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's just too expensive. So I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm going to do powdered tea that is affordable. So I started going and searching for suppliers. And I love Chinese tea. Like I love pu'er. That's like one of my favorite teas, pu'er. Teas like really obscure teas that you might not find in the grocery store. So I love pu'er. I love like oolong, jasmine, chrysanthemum tea, Thai tea. I love Viet coffee as well. But that's not a tea. But anyways, I love like these really obscure Asian teas. And I'm like, I'm going to check out some suppliers from China because I love Chinese tea. Like, what if I just like did this but made it like more affordable? I'm not spending $80 a month on powdered tea. And also, if I don't sell it, I can just drink all of it myself. Why not? So I started doing this research and I'm now on this new journey and I've got a name for it. And I'm really, really excited about my new journey as a tea brand owner. I'm going to make teas. I'm going to introduce teas to people because I love teas. I want you guys to all try teas. And most of all, tried instant powder tea. Because I think a lot of people don't like tea because of the time it takes, There's like so many issues, but instant powder tea, whole new thing. And I'm going to be making like some recipes and blends that are like healthier for you. So anyways, after just half an hour of me going on and ranting, that's what I got into. I'm going to start a tea brand. And I'm like, why didn't I think of this? Because throughout my life, like if you look at my old videos, I had collected teacups and tea sets. I was obsessed. And whenever I saw a nice tea set, I would buy it. I don't even know why. I didn't even use it because I didn't like cleaning it and doing all that because, using a tea set takes a lot of effort, guys. You got to steep it in the tea set, then you got to pour it into a different glass, and then you got to clean it all, and the little spout thing is just really hard to clean. But I like looking at it. I was obsessed. I love mugs. I love teacups. I love porcelain china teacups. I love tea. I like in Australia, there's a brand called T2, and I would literally just walk in there and stare at tea for fun. Like I was like a weird tea nerd. I loved different teas. I loved the taste of teas. I just loved tea. So I don't know. I didn't even know why I I didn't think of this earlier to start a tea brand. I think it just felt really hard, you know? And I don't think I love loose leaf tea as much as like powdered tea. So I guess it wasn't like amazing for me. And the other thing is like so many people already sell loose leaf tea. It's like you go to a supermarket and buy it. Like what what am I really going to contribute, you know? I don't have a farm. I'm not growing my own leaves. Like what am I going to do? Anyways, so I'm really excited. I'm going to start a powdered tea brand and it's going to have a lot of health benefits. And I've been obsessed with like studying and learning and researching different types of teas and like what it does for your body. So that's my new journey now. And I feel really good about it. I feel like I'm finally doing something that I'm meant to do. And I'm trying not to get distracted by other things because that's my one weakness. My one weakness is I'll find something really cool and then I'll just get distracted on like from it because something else will be shinier and like even more cooler. You know what I'm saying? So that's my journey. I'm talking to suppliers every day. I'm sampling different products and things like that. So wish me luck on this journey. That's what I'm going to be doing and also posting this kind of content whenever I can. Let me know what kind of topics you want me to talk about in Tea Time with WENGIE. Anything I can help you with, any advice I can give you. I would love to do that. And I hope to see you again soon. I missed you guys so much, WENGIE Corns, or whatever name you want to give us here. I have no idea. Do we give names anymore? But I missed you guys so much. I can't believe it's been so long since we've sat down and chatted to each other. I hope this kind of gives you a really good idea of what I've been up to. And yeah, love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys super soon. Bye. Mwah.